Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in this replay review of Mr. Tyler1, and you know that I did a lot of analysis of Tyler1 versus Polar Rifle, but this game is different. He's playing versus human. Spoiler alert, he's not going to play Polar Rifle. And I want to see, is the Polar Rifle stopping Mr. Tyler1, or is in general he struggles versus human? If you don't know, Mr. Tyler1 has this tendency to make a lot of headhunters and stay on tier 2, and definitely over making headhunters is a big problem, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm curious what he's going to do, and yes, versus Polar Rifle, of course, you play completely different than versus standard. What we want to see in a standard game as Orc versus human, Farseer, Tower and Chieftain, you can open with Headhunters, but if you don't go tier 3, don't make too many of them. We want to see Shamans, Raiders, Kodo Beast, and some Grunts, and basically you don't invest that much into the Headhunters. You prefer to invest into other units. At the early game, Headhunters are cool, but when the MK is on high level, Headhunters are going to melt in the late game. So that's what I would like to see, and in this matchup, actually, Mr. Tyler1 has this tendency to do tier 2 expansion, and versus human, believe it or not, that is not playing Polar Rifle, that's a good thing, because you can actually protect this expansion quite well. Of course, the more rifles your opponent has, the more grunts you want to produce, but you know, we don't want to get into the details, and it's like a tier 2 thing. So, usually in this matchup you start with crossing the map and harassing. We are playing on Warhail. This is one of the biggest map in the map pool. And human can do some crazy things. So there is a merc camp here where you can buy a merc with Purge. So basically it's good versus wolves from Mr. Farseer. And ladies and gentlemen, you have the barrack with headhunters. Okay, and headhunters are here. Okay, we are just going to cross the map. That's perfect. So yes, the build order is fine, but the problem is that everybody can play like happy or grabby for first 2 minutes of the game, but the problem is to make correct decisions in like, I don't know, 15 minutes. So for now the opener is good, but it's similar like in chess, right? You know how to open first few moves, but the game is getting complicated later. Tyler1 is anticipating that his opponent is expanding, so I would suggest him to split the wolves, because his opponent is probably creeping the merc camp, or maybe it's MK. It's not, he's not creeping the merc camp, it's MK. It's MK Footman. Okay, thank God it's not Polar Rifle. Versus MK, you play a little bit differently. The first rule of playing versus MK, you right-click the MK with your wolves, and then you pull back your Farseer a little bit, and you just repeat, because if you keep MK in a good shape, there is a problem. Mr. Tyler1 is trying to steal Orc Warrior, which is an interesting idea. Also, when you are close to the MK, be careful to not be too close to the trees. And look at this, Mr. Tyler1 is tricky. He's stealing the... You need to attack. No, he doesn't know how to change the aggro. I mean, the wolves are disappeared anyway, but this is not a problem. But you know, MK is not creeping this, so I hope that he's not creeping the merc camp. We'll see about that. So Mr. Tyler1 is disengaging. To be honest, I would still keep pressure on the Mountain King player, because you know creeping with militia is very efficient, so we don't want to allow our opponents to do so. And as we can see, we should tank a little bit more with our wolves. Sentry wards, that's a great item. Actually, I would put one here to check if there is an expansion or not, like you know, on the way for the opponent. And yes, early shop, early burrow, and now he's adding the grant already. That's an interesting option to add the grants already. I think it's a good thing, because it's very rarely to be mass casters with MK, so we are expecting some rifles later. So maybe I like it. To be honest, I need to ask some more experienced Orc, but I definitely don't like it that we gave some time to the MK player, because on higher level he'll just go for the merc camp. Let's see if that's what happened in this game. Plant another sentry ward. Okay, so Mr. Tyler is a little bit indecisive here. Okay, this camp is not easy to creep because of the purge. We need to pull this camp, and MK can creepjack us from here. That's a very dangerous situation. What I would do, I would pull the camp to the left, so we have MK here, camp in between us, because now if the MK comes, we are dead. But luckily for Mr. Tyler, it's not the case. And yes, this Stormweaver Hermit, as we can see, he can purge quite nicely. But yes, Tyler1 units is getting lower and lower, and every potential fight is going to be quite hard. Wolves are here. Wolves are here. Going to be patched again. Not really. Okay. Scroll of the Beast is a good consumable for the later. So for now, it's not going to give us much. And it's like hidden MK. Where is this MK, bro? Where is this MK? What is he doing? Okay, what about the units? So we don't need Shamans, because there is no Archmage. I like Spirit Walkers, because it helps versus MK Bolt. If you don't know, Spirit Walker's Spirit Link ability spreads the damage. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, I like this addition. Okay, a Sentry Ward here, and this is a Vidmo MK. Okay, so okay, now Mr. Tyler1 sees something, and I would expand versus this. I would expand versus this 100%. After the healing, you can go and expand. Of course, you can wait a little bit, but the idea is that MK is not as good after cancelling expansions. Okay, now we need to be careful to not take damage on our units under the heal effect. And versus MK on level 3, we need to have healthy heroes. So now I think is a good moment for Mr. Tyler to expand and creep his Tauren Chieftain to level 3. So for example, I would send the Wolves here with the Tauren and pull back the Farseer. And Mr. Tyler actually doesn't have that much lumber. So maybe he needs to wait a little bit with the expansion. That's absolutely fine. But he's going into weird direction. This expansion is crept.
We're under attack.
This hidden MK crept his expansion. What? Okay, that's weird. Okay, what do we see here? Archmage as a second hero. MK with level 3. No expansion for the human. And Mr. Tyler1 is just expanding. That's good. That's good, okay. Okay, Mr. Tyler, you need to like resummon wolves, I think, and send them. Yes, that's the time to do so. Okay, human is staying AFK, so that's good for us. Okay, raiders, we need one Spirit Walker. One Spirit Walker is enough, just to spread the Spirit Link. By the way, versus this, do we play Stomp or Shockwave? It's okay, it's casters without rifles. Interesting. So I think versus pure caster, we play Shockwave, I'm not sure. Because if you are being blocked by spell breakers, right, there's an issue. And you want to be able to reach the casters from the distance. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what is happening now? We have grunts, we have raiders. Mr. Tyler forgot to expand. Okay, so I thought that he's expanding, and you know, you have enough army to creep, so adding this additional army is basically a bad idea, because you need to expand earlier. You need to expand earlier, because if you expand too late, then actually human can go there and cancel it, right? As we can see. But yes, it's better to expand before making like those 2 additional units. Look, so he's queuing like Spirit Walker and upgrade to Spirit Walkers instead of expanding. That's a wrong order. Okay, so Mr. Tyler1 needs to creep his Tauren Chieftain to level 3. And yes. Okay, so Mr. Tyler has this tendency of being a little bit passive in the mid game. I mean, by being passive, also I mean being slow. And as we can see, he's going into like very weird directions. I don't know if it's the part of not using control groups, but he's kind of like, no, you see, he didn't creep, he just went around. And I don't know if he's expecting expansion here, but the closer you are to your opponent base, the bigger probability is that the expansion is going to be, the creep cam is going to be empty, but lucky for Mr. Tyler, he can creep his TC to level 3 here, if he pulls back the Farseer. But in general, it's quite slow, but that's fine. He's still not expanding. I think he just forgot. I think he's realizing now. Man, this expansion would be ready. By the way, in the next patch, probably expansion will be, you can make much faster expansion in 125 seconds instead of 145 seconds. So no, don't lose this raider. Okay, raider survived. Level 3 is here. So now it's a little bit weird moment, because we are kind of expanding and we are kind of in the fighting shape. So if we go Shockwave, I'll just force my opponent to TP back. I think I would just attack my opponent. He used Scroll of the Beast! He used Scroll of the Beast by a misclick! Okay, now you have to attack. Okay, attack now is a good item. It's like throwing 400 gold to like 300 gold to like a dumpster. Okay, it's tier 3. Tier 3 armies definitely can beat us. Okay, so it's, you know, we can click and see that knights are coming, but okay, I would expect knights because that's the army that actually can beat us. Okay, we need wyverns. We need wyverns. We don't fight this. We lame this a little bit, and we make second bestiary, and we add wyverns or mascodo. Wyvern, we can't fight this. Efficiency of knights with MK level 4 with freaking inner fire. So our opponent played one base, and because you know what, our expansion was omega late, and Tyler is fighting this. You can't fight versus this. Okay, you can't fight versus this, Mr. Tyler, I'm afraid. Using Scroll of the Beast versus human with breakers. I mean, he has so many buffs, the shockwave was kinda meh. I see the lack of like, you know, understanding when to fight. You can't win versus knights with raiders. Impossible. I mean, it's possible when you have like 20 supply more, but because this expansion was late, we don't have this additional HP bonus, right? So, as we can see, this fight didn't go too well. I mean, guys, like, there's this beauty of Warcraft 3, right? There are some army compositions that are good, and there are some army compositions that are bad for fighting, particular other army compositions. So, yes. Like, every human would like to make knights, priests with inner fire. That's a dream of every human player. But you can't do it versus Night Elf, because Night Elf will kill you before. You can't do it versus Orc, because good Orc will kill you before, right? And because Mr. Tyler1 has this tendency of being passive in the mid game, and his expansion is mining with one worker and it's omega late, he didn't have any advantage. He didn't lame, he didn't force the fights when he should, when his opponent has very small army. When your opponent is going for tier 3, then it's much easier to keep your expo alive, and this is the result of the problems with, you know, understanding that, yes, every human would like to go tier 3 with Knight Priest. But there is, and this guy is not even going for inner fire. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think there's a good example that Tyler, maybe Polar Rifle is not that broken. That basically Mr. Tyler1 playstyle needs to be a little bit, you know, improved. And that's the game design of orcs, right? You make good mid tier 2 army, and if your opponent is taking, you pressure him, right? And you expand very early, and then you outvalue him with the gold advantage. And versus knights, you like to make the wyverns. I think that's the solution. Maybe somebody in the comments can tell me, Saul, I'm a professional orc player, and you never play wyverns versus knights. You play, I don't know, Kodos or something. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you learned something. And yes, if you give your opponent enough time to make the ultimate army and you stay with your mediocre tier 2 army, you die. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video. Consider subbing. We are 6 subs away from 2000 subs. Thank you, and bye-bye.